Hello friends. So today's topic is structure of the atom. So this is the unit of every material. It could be living material or non-living material. Every material, whatever we see around us, even we ourselves also composed of atoms only in the basic forms. We have many types of carbon, many types of compounds, right? We have biomolecules in the larger scale, larger form, right? Biomacromolecules, okay, protein, carbohydrate, fat, okay, these type of things, glycogen, okay, starch, these are the things. But whatever whatever the compounds we have, these are actually composed of atoms in the basic form. So we need to understand what is atom actually. So atom is the basic unit or basic structural unit of every material. Okay, so what is actually atom? This is the composed of two parts, so nucleus and outside the nucleus. So in the inside the nucleus, proton and neutrons are present. So proton is actually positively charged and neutron is neutral in charge. This is not having any charge, okay. And surrounding it, this nucleus, surrounding the nucleus, revolving electrons are there, okay. So electrons are negatively charged. And what we see that proton, the charge of the proton means positive charge, the amount of charge of the proton is totally same with the electronic charge, the charge of the electron. But the uh, but the value is negative and positive, means electron is negatively charged and proton is positively charged, means opposite charge, but the amount of charge is same, okay. So we look further. So see here, J.J. Thomson. So electron identified by J.J. Thomson, okay. We need to remember this, electron is identified by J.J. Thomson, okay. So see, so the model, Thomson's model of the atom, so whatever I discussed, so see here, the Thomson model was different, right? Thomson, according to Thomson model, it was like positive sphere is there, okay. So inside the positive sphere electrons are located, but it is not true. Further study shows that it is not true, okay. So according to Thomson, positive sphere, inside the positive sphere there there are there were electrons, okay. Okay, so this is the this proposed by J.J. Thomson. So next one, okay. So this is the Rutherford models, whatever I discussed at first, that electrons are revolving the nucleus, inside the nucleus protons are located, protons and neutrons are located, that is actually given by the Rutherford, okay. Okay, so he concluded from this experiment, so alpha particle is positively charged particle, okay. So it is heating the material. So what is happening, mostly the uh, positively charged alpha particle is going straight line, means it is not hampering or it is not changing its direction, means it is charged particle. So if charged particle, some charged particle, if charged quantity or charged material is inside the material, something inside the material, so it should have undergone some directional change, but it is not happening. Mostly the alpha particle are going straight line, and this is because most of the spaces inside the atoms are free, void space, means there is no presence of any other particle, okay. So mostly empty space are there inside the atom, okay. And another thing, some particles are hitting and getting back to the direction, okay. So why it is changing direction and coming back to its initial direction? This is because the the interaction between this charged particle and some other charged particle that is present inside the atom, okay. So he concluded that some charged particle is there inside the atom also. So that's why the proton positively charged and electron negatively charged, okay. Okay, okay. So only the very few spaces or very less amount of spaces inside the nucleus, inside the atom, is charged in nature, okay. So that's why the nucleus, the concept of nucleus means inside the nucleus only the charged particles are located, okay. Okay, it is done already. So the next one is the Bohr's model. So he mainly discusses the nature of the movement of electrons. So I have said already that electrons are revolving the nucleus around surrounding the nucleus. So what is the actually pathway of the electrons movement, that is discussed or described by Bohr's model. Okay, so what he said, that the electrons are revolving in specific radius, in a specific circular pathway that is having specific radius. Okay, it cannot move around around nucleus in every direction or zigzag way or something non uniform. Okay, so he said only in a uniform nature and in a specific radius they moves around the nucleus. Okay, that is the orbit. Okay, so he said about this orbit. And another thing, when revolving the electron is not releasing any energy or it is not taking any energy. That's why their radius of circular motion is remaining constant. Whenever it takes some energy or releases some energy, their radius may decrease or increase. If it is taking energy, so it will go further away from nucleus, thus the radius will increase. And in case of it is releasing energy, so it will come to closer to the nucleus, so radius will be decreased. Okay, this is the Bohr's model. Okay, so you can see here naming is done. So the orbits are named according to k from starting k, then L, M, N likewise. So n is equals to 1 2 3, n small n is equals to 1 2 3 4. So it is the orbit and the principal quantum number. It is the quantum number which describes the orbit nature, means which orbit actually the electrons are located in which orbit, that is described by small n, principal quantum number. Okay, it could be n is equals to 1, then k. If n is equals to 2, small 2, so small n is equals to 2, then it is L cell. Okay, likewise. Okay, another thing, as we increase the energy of the electron, it is going further away from the nucleus. This is the nature. Why? Actually electrons are bounded, electrons are not able to go far away from nucleus. This is just because the attractive force, nucleus, inside the nucleus protons are present, that is positively charged, and now positively charged proton obviously will attract electrons that is negatively charged. So this is actually electrostatic force, right, according to Coulomb's law. Okay, so that's why it is remaining in the specific orbit. But when we supply some energy, some form of energy, then electrons are excited, so electrons go further away from nucleus. Okay, okay, so neutrons is actually discovered by Chadwick. Okay, we need to remember. So J.J. Thomson was electron, proton Rutherford, but neutron Chadwick. Okay, Chadwick is for neutron, you should remember. So orbit I have discussed already. Another thing, in each orbit the maximum number of electron, how many number of electrons can be located, that is the 2n square formula. So 2n square, here n is the small n, that is the orbit number, means the principal quantum number. If n is equals to 1, then 2n square comes to 2. If n is equals to 2, then 2 into 4, so 8. So second orbit maximum electron 8. So third orbit maximum electron 2 into 3 square means 9 18. Okay, so third orbit maximum number of electron is 18. Okay, likewise you can get from the principal quantum number. Okay, so number of electrons in the orbit or cell, maximum number of electron can be calculated, 2n square. Okay, so next one is the valency. Valency means the outer cell orbit, how much electrons is needed to get it stabilized. What happens in the chemical reactions or the chemical changes when atom interacts with another atom? So what happens usually in the outer cell, there are some specific number of electrons that is needed for stabilization. Okay, so when it is lesser than that number, then the tendency of the atom is to collect or get some electron from outside. Okay, and if it is excess than the stability electron, then it usually try to release some electron. Okay, so that is the valency. So how many electrons are excess in the outer shell, or how many electrons are lacking inside the outer shell? Okay, that is the valency. Okay, so here you can see hydrogen. In case of hydrogen, only one electrons are there outside the nucleus, and in case of helium it is 2. So in case of lithium it is 2 and 1. In the first orbit it is 2, in the second orbit it is 1. So in the second orbit, how do we know that in the second orbit 2 to the power 2, so 8 electrons are needed, means 7 electrons are needed to stabilize its condition. Okay, maximum electron number is 8, so 7 electrons are needed. What we can do easily, that if we release that electron in the second orbit, we can have the stabilized condition. Means in the first orbit we needed 2 electron that is present already. So that's why for lithium it is 1, valence is 1, because if 1 electron is released, then it is stabilized, right? So likewise in case of beryllium it is 2, in case of boron it is 3, so in case of carbon it is 4, because 4 electrons are excessive, or we can say 4 electrons are needed for getting stabilized. For stabilization 4 electrons are needed, because 8 electrons, total 8 electrons needed, already 4 electrons are present. So if we can get more 4 electrons, then it is fine. In case of nitrogen we need 3 electrons, so nitrogen the valency is 3. Likewise for oxygen valency is C 2 4 3 3 6. Okay, so 2 for oxygen it is 2, for fluorine it is 1, for neon it is 0, because it is already stabilized. Okay, likewise you can have. Okay, so here it is written the symbols we need to remember. Hydrogen, for hydrogen it is H, for helium it is He, we need to remember just. Okay, lithium, for lithium it is Li, for beryllium Be, for boron B, carbon C. Likewise you need to remember up to this only, 18 up to 18. Okay, these are the usual case. So in this case the atomic number is the number of proton. Okay, and proton number is shift to electron number, means if atomic number of one atom is 8, so 8 electrons will be there outside the nucleus also, and neutrons may or may not be equal to proton. In most cases neutrons are also same. Means if like for carbon it is 6, so atomic number is 6, means 6 protons are there inside the nucleus, and 6 neutrons are also there inside the nucleus. Okay, so atomic mass is 6 plus 6, means proton plus neutron atomic mass. So atomic mass is equals to proton plus neutron, so it comes 12 for carbon. Okay, outside the nucleus for carbon it is 6 electron. Okay, so distribution of electrons we know, first 2, then remaining all in the second. If in the second it is 8, already 8, then we need to add in the third orbit, likewise it will go. Okay, so atomic number and atomic mass. So atomic number means the number of proton, and mass number is proton plus neutron. Okay, you can see here it is written as Z in the prefixes, left lower corner Z is written, it is the atomic number, and A is written right left upper corner. So left upper corner means mass number. So X is the symbol of element. Okay, so you can remember. So Z is the atomic number, A is the mass number. Okay, so here you can see for nitrogen atomic number is 7, and atomic mass number is 14. So proton plus neutron is equals to 14, and proton is equals to 7. So we can calculate the neutron. Number of neutron will be 14 minus 7 is equals to 7. Okay, so isotopes we need to remember isotope p or p letter is there, so proton is same, iso means same, and proton is, if proton is same, then isotopes like two atoms having same proton number, that is at same atomic number, so atomic number same means isotope. Okay, so protium, deuterium and tritium, these are all isotopes of hydrogen, means every isotopes of hydrogen is having only one proton but changing the neutron number. So here you can see for 1H1 protium, 1H1 means atomic number and mass number same, but deuterium 1 proton plus 2 neutron, for tritium 1 proton plus 3 neutron. Okay, okay, protium, deuterium, sorry, in case of deuterium it is 1 proton and 1 neutron, in case of tritium it is 1 proton plus 2 neutron, so atomic mass number is 3 for tritium. Okay, okay, so isotope is done. Now this is, so now see, wait, okay, so atomic number same but mass number is different, that is isotope. So isobar means same atomic mass. Okay, so mass number is same but the proton number is different, that are known as isobar. Okay, so thank you.